Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for those of you joining me. It probably won't be too many because I am new. I am trying to build my audience, though. I am Greg Benito, the Great Canadian Asshole, and this is my blog. And what it is honest opinions. And the thing about honest opinions that come from people like me, well, sometimes if people don't agree with these opinions, you get labeled an asshole or other things like racist and homophobe. But I'm going to start off by saying I don't give a shit what you do with your genitalia. You're welcome here. I don't care what color your skin is. You're welcome here because that's what it's all about. We're all human and we're all under one roof. So fuck the far left. Fuck these people that are creating this divide and trying to divide us all. We are all on this planet together, and then we've got to smarten up and wake up together. And that leads me into this podcast, CNN Exposed. My fellow Canadians, my brothers and sisters down in America, you remember about a year ago, legendary Canadian, I'm going to leave it at that, legendary Canadian Don Cherry was fired. And it created a huge uproar. And we watched CBC, which here in Canada is our CNN, I guess. Mainstream media just crash and die. The ratings went down. Sorry, I got to get a sip of my Deadpool coffee here. After years of drinking coffee like this, I have yet to poke myself in the eye. Well, I might have done it once or twice. Poke myself in the eye with my spoon. CNN finally exposed. You know, there's an old saying that good always disguises itself as evil. And that's what the left does, at least the far left, because I used to consider myself a leftist. I used to consider myself a leftist because, like everyone, I was against racism. I believed in equality. I believed in gay rights, gay marriage. I still do. I still believe in all of that stuff. But see, I also see the value in conservative viewpoints. Things like the economy, things like business and how business works. And I mean, I've got 10 years of corporate retail management experience. I've got 3 diplomas. I've got certifications, awards up the wazoo for things I've done in life. And I've got a wealth of experience. That's the difference between me and maybe other people. It's all my experiences combined. I've worked from labor to management to I've done everything. I worked for professional sports teams. I was a financial advisor. I've done everything in life. And I guess that's where it's led me. It's led me to having these opinions and these views based on that experience. One of the things about the media that I'm trying to get out there, and I want people to understand this, is that the media is not your friend. Journalism is dead, and mainstream media is just a far left activist propaganda machine. I know it sounds like a conspiracy, and I know a lot of people probably will turn this video off as soon as I said that. Most won't. And see, this is what they're not reporting. When you look at Donald Trump's election, and he got 74 million uncontested votes. Uncontested. Let that sink in. Joe Biden, over 80 million votes. And we're seeing all those votes being contested everywhere. Not only are we seeing those votes being contested, we are seeing the Democrats and the left going out of their way to prevent any kind of investigation, any kind of certification of Biden's legitimacy. I got to be careful when I use the word certification. Any kind of Biden legitimacy towards this presidential election. We'll call it an election. Now, I can tell you right now, if the Democrats would shut the fuck up and let them go and investigate all these votes, let them go and investigate the multitudes of allegations of election fraud. And you're not going to get that from the FBI. Sorry. Bill Barr, you're an idiot if you think Bill Barr is legit. The guy basically sold his soul to get the job from Trump. And all he's doing is looking, going, my job's on the line. And it looks like Biden's going to win. And he's just banking on Biden winning and him holding on to his job by showing loyalty. This is a dangerous guy. We need this guy. Now, this is my opinion, but this guy needs to go. This is the guy that we need to get this guy out of the FBI, or the Americans do anyway. We've got our own problems here in Canada with our own far left Trudeau. But that's what happens when you elect a drama teacher, a part-time drama teacher at that, who does blackface and then can literally look the country in the eye and criticize them for being racist. That's what's going down. That's where we live now. But aside from that, I am proud to be Canadian, and I am definitely a great Canadian asshole, and that's okay. So please like and share. Please help me grow my audience, because YouTube sure as hell won't, because I'm saying things that goes against the narrative. CNN, let's get back to CNN here and talk about what happened today. James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, and this is the breaking news coming out. James O'Keefe, somehow, he's a journalist, and somehow he had gotten a number to get in on these morning calls with the executives at CNN, the Jeff Zuckerberg, where they basically lay out their strategy for the news. And this is very damning. But it's only damning if we can get it out and show people what's going on. Now, because I'm new to YouTube, because I'm not familiar with copyrights and everything, I'm not going to attempt to show it, but I'm going to direct you to Tim Pool, his podcast, Salty Cracker. I think Tyler Zed did something today. I'm seeing a bunch of it coming out, and they're actually playing the audio recordings of this. I'm going to stay away from that from now, okay? But what we're doing today is, or what's happening today is CNN. If you didn't know, they're caught. They're caught red-handed, because what they've been doing in these meetings is they're not actually discussing how to get the news out. And that's what journalism is. That's what the job is. See, I'm more of a journalist here doing what I'm doing right now than they are, okay? Because journalists are supposed to report the news. They're supposed to be out there. And here it's a little guy in his basement going, hey, I'm going to let you guys know what's going on, but I need you to share my videos. I need you to like and subscribe to my videos to help me do that. That's the only way. That's the only way we're going to get this out. So James O'Keefe and Project Veritas started releasing audio clips of these meetings. And in what they released today was Jeff Zuckerberg of CNN discussing with one of his managers how to continue to spread fear, how to put pressure on Donald Trump by putting fear into the public, to put pressure on Trump to concede to a Joe Biden victory, which is telling in itself that they're pushing this, because they know, and everybody knows, that they have until there's certain dates in the U.S. Constitution how elections are run. This is all being done legally, and Trump has every single right to do this. This is the first thing people need to understand. Don't get mad at the guy because he's doing it legally. And if you're mad at Trump and you think he's an idiot and you think he's holding up something, you're the idiot. Because Donald Trump is doing what he's entitled to do. He's not playing games. He's using his leverage. He's using the law. He's using what he has available to him to do it right. And that's the sad part. He's been doing it right all along, but the media will never let you know that. They don't want you to know that. They want to keep you blind and angry. Orange man bad, Trump derangement syndrome. And that's all they've done. And that is what James O'Keefe is exposing. How they've made mainstream people hate this man. How they've hidden, purposely hidden. They're not reporting on the fraud in this election. They're coming out and going, Trump's legal team came out today and it was so bananas, we're not even going to show it to you. Listen, I encourage you, go look. Go find the video, because what they did was they laid out, and they didn't lay out all the fraud. They just laid out enough to show the American people, listen, we're on to something. We're investigating it. And if you understand the law, they can't put it all out there. Sorry. And I know there was some controversy with Tucker Carlson. I'm not going to explain that right now, okay? Tucker Carlson is probably the number one personality, whatever you want to call him, news personality, journalist out there right now. He's got the number one ratings. And he's been a Trump supporter. So I can almost guarantee you, and again, this is my opinion, and you're probably going to hear it here first, what really happened there was Tucker feels entitled to get information. And Tucker's probably looking at it going, I've been on Team Trump from the beginning, and if anyone should get some inside info, it should be me. And Sidney Powell didn't give him what he wanted. And that's basically all it boils down to. Sidney said, you know what, we're protecting this because we need this to come out in court. We need to protect this information because look what the left is already doing. Accidentally wiping Dominion machines. Judges are flip-flopping. They're even ignoring judge orders to allow people in to see the count. They're doing all this stuff. No wonder Sidney Powell wants to keep this stuff to herself and close to the heart. So Tucker, Tucker's doing a good job, but he just happens to be on this side of things. And unfortunately, like the rest of them, his career matters more to him than actually, the American people. And I think that's a fair criticism. And even though he's basically on the right side of things, hey, we're all fallible. We're all imperfect. But that's what's going on. And what CNN did today, it's disgusting to me. But they openly discussed weaponizing 911. What a disgusting thing to do. So they want to put it out there. This is what the orders were coming down from this executive meeting, that to start weaponizing 911 to spread fear. and to point out that the last time a presidential transition didn't go smoothly, 9/11 happened. That's fucked to me. You know, that is just the most abusive, narcissistic relationship. And that's who's running these things, these narcissistic type personalities that are running the media today. And they've got an agenda. It's almost like they look at the people. Now, I'm going to tell you something. It's almost like they look at them as sheep. And I'm going to tell you something. I learned in communication class when I was learning to write and do this kind of thing. They used to teach us to always assume your audience has a grade 5 level of education. And that's what these journalists do. They literally, that's who they're targeting. They're targeting these people. Now, that used to be true maybe 40, 50 years ago when people didn't really go to school or didn't stay in school because we were largely, a farming country. You know, a lot of people, work was more important, especially after the Depression, and things have changed. But see, people are more educated now. The internet has made us more educated now. And that's why mainstream media is dying. Because of the internet, because people like me and all these other guys out there, the conservative twins, we're all out here on Facebook. Me now, the Great Canadian Asshole. Hopefully I can get as big as those guys. We're all out here exposing the truth and talking about it and getting it out there. And this is what's going on. You cannot trust the mainstream media. They come in, evil always disguises itself as good. That's how they lure you in. There's an old saying that goes, the road to hell was paved with good intentions. Well, what's a good intention? What's a nice virtuous issue for us to discuss? What can we get people and tug at people's heartstrings with? How about racism? Racism. See, because what they've done is they've drilled it into these kids' heads. This started in the late 80s and early 90s, these social justice issues, and it starts in the education system. And these kids now are being taught that their emotions matter more. See, I'm probably one of the last that comes from a generation where we were always taught to be selfless. We were always taught that we serve the greater good. And somewhere that changed. Somehow this far left movement got hold of these kindergarten teachers, and there's a lot I say about teachers, and I'm very critical of teachers, and I realize that, and it does come across very negative. I mean, most of them are good people, but I'm going to explain something, and it's gotten me in trouble talking about, and I don't really care. I had one teacher's husband actually want to fight me over this, but he wanted me to come down to his dojo and fight, and I was like, no, let's meet in a field, you and I, nobody else, none of this bullshit showing off. We can kick the shit out of each other without nobody else seeing it, just so you know and I know what really went on. But that's another story. But this asshole literally wanted to fight. No, an asshole is a term of honor now. Being an asshole is a good term now. So no, this loser wanted to fight me because I was outspoken against teachers, and his wife was a teacher. So the little droopy dog got his balls all curled up in a joint over it. But fuck him anyway. I'm gonna drink some more of my coffee. But teachers, the thing about teachers, most of them never left the education system. And you got to understand, this is important because earlier in this podcast, I talked about my experiences. I've gone out and worked blue collar. I've done everything from landscaping. I even owned my own landscaping company at one time, to working in corporate management. I've just done a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of different viewpoints, and I've gained a lot of experience about how different people think and how things work and how the world works. But you've got teachers almost like a horse with blinders on. They have this very narrow view of the world and how the world works. They start out, they go to school, they learn, blah, 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 blah. Then at some point in high school, they decide, you know what? I love the education. I love my teachers. I love school. It feels great to be here because they're sheltered and protected there. I'm going to continue on with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. That's great. So they decide to go back to school. They're still in the education system. They go through all this university, blah, 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 blah. And then they come out and they begin teaching. And the thing about teachers is because they have never had this outside experience, they've never had to work anywhere else. They've never had to try and pay bills and raise kids on minimum wage. They think they're hard done by. And hey, you know what? Can you fault them for it? They don't know anything. They don't know any better, unfortunately. That's all they know. So, of course, they think that their hardships trump everyone else's. God, it's got to be so hard being a teacher. It's got to be so hard working Monday to Friday in a classroom that's heated and now air conditioned, and, you know, dealing with screaming kids. That's got to be such a, I mean, that poor guy making less than minimum wage, catching chickens and catching fevers and diseases because they're covered in feces all day. Yeah. Yeah, that's a job. That's an actual job out there, you know. Here in Canada, I used to drive truck and deliver flowers, and we have to pay in Canada Mexican workers to come here to work in our greenhouses and farms because nobody in Canada wants to do it. Well, these teachers are so hard done by. Which brings me to my point, because I'm not trying to bash on teachers. I'm trying to point out something. And the smart ones will agree with me. They'll say, absolutely, it's absolutely true. They don't have the experience. They don't have this outside worldly experience. And parents are too busy trying to pay their bills to properly teach their kids. Now, I try and teach my daughter. She's my number one priority. And I try and teach her right from wrong and how the world works. And it's interesting. She'll come home and tell me, we learned about communism today, Dad. I'm like, yeah, really? What'd you learn? Because I want to find out. I want to know what they're teaching. But these teachers have this narrow-minded view of how the world works, and they're passing that on to our kids. And what's happened is suddenly, all of a sudden, kids have peanut allergies. Where the fuck? We didn't have peanut allergies when we were kids. But now, peanut allergy is a thing, and we all have to, we can't bring peanut butter to school anymore. Peanut butter is the enemy. So, you know, peanut butter is the Adolf Hitler of the condiment world now. And we got to bring this shitty product we got to send our kids with this shitty product called Wow Butter. I can't give the shit away. Once in a while I get these things because I'm an idiot. I go to the store, I don't realize it's not peanut butter, and I buy this crap until I finally figured out. I was like, Wow Butter, oh, it must be like maybe calorie low or something. But anyway, and this is what they're teaching. And here's the thing, here's the catch. It's fine. It's fine to teach your kids, that they matter, that their feelings matter, but it goes too far, because now what we've done is we've created a generation of kids who think their feelings are what matters most. And they don't understand how the world works. And they don't see the world as anything else but a simplistic view of the older generation got it wrong. And it's as simple as we should all be equal. We should all share the wealth. And we should all, it makes sense in their minds. And it makes sense in their minds because of the education system, because this is what teachers, this is who is influencing these kids growing up. It's people who have a limited scope of experience. They're the ones influencing our kids. And that's why, and I hate to say it, but that's why you've got 3 dead people and a young man named Kyle Rittenhouse in prison because he was defending himself. I watched the video. I really don't give a shit what anyone says. I watched him flee. I'm going to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse here. This is a perfect example of entitlement that these kids, this is Kenosha. And of course, it lit up over James Blake, who now, if you watch that video, see, this is where the media completely goes off the fucking rails, pushes their narrative, and people die. That's how fucking serious this is. So this guy, James Blake, the police get called. He comes out and they answer a call. Now, the media only shows you the police shooting this black man. What they don't tell you is why the police were there, because the girlfriend or the ex-girlfriend called because he had sexually assaulted her. The kids were in the car and he had threatened to kidnap the kids. He had also told the cops that he was going to the car to get his knife after repeated warnings. And the cops were put in a position where they had to do what they had to do. And what did the media do? The media took full advantage of it. Full advantage of it to anger, to infuriate, because all they give a shit about is getting rid of the orange man in the White House. That's it. That's how fucking selfish. And these are the people that need to go to prison. So because of that, they incited violence. Okay? They incited, and this is probably why I'm going to get banned, because I'm telling the fucking truth here. They incited this violence. And then you got these kids who now feel that they need to dilute and destroy businesses and to riot. And this young man goes out. Should he have been there? That can be debated. Should he have bothered? It's the police's job. Police aren't doing fuck all. So that's the only thing I could find fault with Kyle Rittenhouse about. But he goes out there, and he goes out there to help people. And he goes out there with first aid kit. And I know I sound like I'm spreading the right wing story. No, it's the fucking truth. This is exactly what happened. Okay. And he brings a gun. And a lot of people brought a gun. And I'm watching Trevor Noah, another left wing loser. I used to love that guy's show. And now I realize he's a fucking tool. He goes out there and he does the special and he goes, there's only one reason you bring a gun to a protest, to kill people. Now, listen, you jackass. One of the guys he shot had a fucking gun. Okay? That's how fucked these far leftists are and these late night talk show hosts are. And I'm a comedian and I have zero respect for these guys. It pisses me off because what started all that, Kyle Rittenhouse put out a dumpster fire. And then they were mad at him because they were trying to burn down a business and he put it out. And they started to assault him. And he started to flee. That's what the media doesn't tell you. And he's running away and people are throwing things at him. They're running up, they're punching him in the back of the head and then blending back into the crowd as this guy's trying to escape. Somebody, and this is what you're going to see in the court, fires a gun. They've got proof of that. CNN, MSNBC, they're not going to report that to you. Somebody fires a gun in the air. At that point, Kyle Rittenhouse turns, believes that, and this is where his lawyer is going to probably get him off here. He opens fire. But he doesn't, he stops to check on this guy to see what happened. He makes a phone call, a mistake. You know, that's too bad. He probably should have called the police, but he called a buddy, I guess. While he's sitting there trying to figure out, okay, I just shot a guy. What do I do next? The crowd started to realize that Kyle just killed this guy. Now the crowd is very hostile, but they don't even know. So he decides to flee. He's running. Nobody in that crowd knows what he did. It's just people yelling, that guy, get that. They were yelling, kill him. This is what people don't understand. They were yelling, kill him. That fucker, kill him. And people started chasing him up the street. And you can see in the video, if you watch the raw video without any commentary, without the media or anyone else giving their spin on it, you see Kyle running. You see people jumping out, punching him in the back of the head, blending back in the crowd. These fucking cowards. They blend back into the crowd. And then he trips and falls over. As he trips, the first guy runs up, jumps in the air. Here's Kyle on the ground and goes to stomp on him, to do like a head kick. All right. Which is most people watching don't realize, like, you know, that's one of the things you do. You jump in the air and you try and stomp on their head and connect their head with the ground and do some serious damage. And Kyle turns and shoots. Boom. Shoots the guy. Now, I think that guy lived. You can see him in the video. He hobbles off. The second guy comes out of nowhere right as soon as that guy gets shot, and he goes like this and whacks Kyle over the head with a skateboard. And you can see it. And in the end with the trucks on it, the wheels on the skateboard. I was going to pull my skateboard out to show you. That's fucking metal. That's a weapon at this point. And it goes over top of Kyle's head. Kyle turns around, poof, in the chest as this guy's hitting him. I'm sorry. It's self-defense. That guy takes 2 steps and dies. Okay. I got 2 of them dead. Third guy comes over, and this is happening within seconds. Like, this isn't like these guys are thinking and being heroes and realizing what's going on. All 3 were attacking at the same time. The third guy actually has a fucking gun. He has a fucking gun. This is what Trevor Noah didn't tell you. This is what John Oliver and none of them are going to tell you. This is what none of these leftists want to admit. He's got a gun, and Kyle shoots and blows his arm off. And there's photos of him holding his arm, kneeling, or he's kneeling like this with his arm, and he's got a Glock in his hand. So this whole argument that, you know, was it self-defense? Was it justified self-defense? You're fucking right, it was. And he's going to get off. But the media, they want to destroy this kid's life. They want to destroy this kid's life. Was he a hero? Should he have been there? I don't know. My father always said, if you don't want to be falsely accused of something, don't be there when it happens. That's the only thing I can fault Kyle Rittenhouse for. Sadly, those guys lost their lives. One of the other things the media is not talking about is they had criminal records. One of them was a child molester. But no, we won't talk about that. We'll kind of let that go. And you know what? To be honest, maybe it's not relevant. They died. But the point is they weren't innocent. They were attacking Kyle. He didn't point his gun in the crowd and start shooting. Okay? He's not what the media made him out to be. And that's CNN. And that's their agenda. That's MSNBC, ABC, CBS. That's all of them. Fox News even. And who's behind it all? Well, there was a task force put together. And it was supposed to be a bipartisan task force to investigate what damage the Chinese have actually done. The Chinese government, communist government, what have they actually done? Hunter Biden's laptop has proven that when Biden was president, Joe Biden, he was benefiting off the Chinese and other countries. That was proven, and the media won't cover it. Not only won't the media cover it, but big tech is stifling anyone who tried to share that information, including the New York Post, one of the oldest sources of news in America. They even banned the White House press secretary, her account, because she shared a link to the story. And me, yours truly, I am currently serving a 30-day ban on Facebook. Why? Because I shared. I didn't post. I shared images that were going around that were taken off of that laptop, and it was proven that they were taken off legitimately, although big tech wants to insist it was hacked material. That's the reason why they buried it, because it was hacked material. Yet they didn't have a problem when New York Times released Trump's tax returns. Again, to show you how misleading they are. So the New York Times led with a headline that said Trump pays $750 in taxes. Do you know how many fucking morons have come to me and repeated that? And I want to smack them all. These are my friends. These are people I know. And they go, well, Trump only paid $750. And you fucking morons. Did you read the rest of the article? He paid millions in taxes. But because the New York Times led with that headline, Trump pays $700. Of course, yeah, he paid $750. That was one fee. They get away with it. See how they got away with it? But then like 5 paragraphs down, they do explain that he actually paid millions in taxes. But it doesn't matter because the headline said it all, and that's all they needed. They just needed that headline. They just needed that one for people to run with it. And guess what? Every fucking news source out there ran with it. And it's all propaganda, and it's all with one intent, not to tell the truth, but to damage you. Because the truth is they found nothing in Trump's tax returns. Nothing. But they don't want you to know that. Because they made such a big deal out of his tax returns for years. They had to put something. They had to save face. The media is not your friend. The mainstream media is left-wing propaganda. It is all collapsed. And what we saw today was CNN being exposed, audio coming out from these Zoom calls, from these conference calls that they're having, where they're laying out strategy. They are not talking about the news. They're not talking about reporting the news. They are laying out strategy. How to manipulate, how to gaslight the public, how to spin this story. That's what's going on, and that's what we need to get out there. Anyway, my 30 minutes are almost up. I'm 3 minutes short, and I just wanted to get that out there. Don't trust the media. The media is not your friend. It's our enemy. We need to get that out. If you like what I had to say and you follow along and you believe and you think others could benefit from my views, please like and share. Please subscribe. Please help me grow my audience. Peace out. I'll be back later when I've got something else to bitch about, and we'll go from there. Thank you, guys. Mwah.